Jacksonville Jaguars, listen, 9-8 record last year. Trevor Lawrence just made tremendous amount of strides. They won a playoff game last year with their head coach Doug Peterson, um, and they look all the bit of a team that's up and coming for sure. Uh, and the good thing for them is that they've added Calvin Ridley, another offensive talent, to go with the guys that they have there already. Um, so that's going to be excellent for them. And Calvin really is. We forgot about this guy. The last time he played in the league, he caught over 90 balls and over 1,300 yards. So it'll be good to see, and 9 touchdowns with Atlanta. So it's going to be good to see him. And then you got Travis Etienne. They drafted a kid in the 3rd round. I believe his name is Tank Bigsby. So you put those two together, that's going to be a nice little tandem in the backfield there. And their defense has improved. Now Shaquille Griffin is gone. But they still have fast and physical playmakers back there that I still think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. No, so overall, listen, I think without really going into picking anyone, they're the class of this division for sure. They got the best quarterback, they got the best coach, right? Now they got a stadium situation going on with them, and they play in England more than they do in Jacksonville, so that's kind of it's funny in itself. But listen, they're going to be the kings of that division for quite some time right now, as we can see that right now. So Jacksonville Jaguars for sure are up and coming team, not just in the division, but I think in the AFC. And they lost to the Chiefs last year in the playoffs, and it wasn't a bad loss. They went toe to toe with the eventual Super Bowl champs. So that has to say something, right? Now, if they can take that, learn from that experience, and move forward with it, the future is definitely bright there in Jacksonville. Okay, Tennessee Titans. Listen, we just talked about DeAndre Hopkins, and now we got to talk about the team itself. Now they missed the playoffs last year. It was kind of a weird season for them. A lot of injuries. Derrick Henry missed some time. Ryan Tannehill was out for a while. They ended up playing guys like Josh Dobbs, who they pulled off the streets to play against my Cowboys, and it was a Thursday night game. Like it was just a crazy turn of events for them last year. But the good thing is that hopefully guys are healthy now, and they're ready to go. And signing guys like DeAndre Hopkins will help. Now, the good thing for them in their offense is that they'll still be able to run the ball. Now, they're still kind of one-dimensional, which is kind of what they've always been, right? Even in the AJ Brown years, they were still pretty much one-dimensional. But what AJ Brown was able to do was help take the top off the defenses and help, especially with the run game and play action. They were looking really, really good. AJ Brown's gone. Derrick Henry's a little older now, taking some more pounding there. But you bring in guys like a DeAndre Hopkins, that should only elevate your offense and not deteriorate your offense. So in that respect, I think they'll be okay. Mike Vrabel is a very good coach. Okay, so they'll be able to figure that out. Defensively, look, they don't get after the quarterback. That's been a problem for them for quite some time. They don't get after the quarterback at all. And in that regard, too, they're out there longer than they got to be. So their defense is on. They can't convert on third downs, so they're out there longer. And usually, when you're out there for too long, good things do not happen. But so I like the general direction of this team and where they're going, because they're not a very flashy team. They've never been that way under Mike Vrabel. They're going to beat you in the trenches. They're going to try to beat you in the trenches. And they're going to beat you schematically and strategically. All right. That's how they were able to beat teams like the Ravens a couple of years ago in the playoffs when they went into Baltimore. Now, Baltimore didn't end up getting their revenge, a couple of years later or the year after. But they can compete with a lot of teams because they play a smart brand of football. And that goes to say a lot, because sometimes it ain't always about talent, man. And I get it. There's certain situations where, it's about the bros and the Joes, but sometimes too, when everyone's good, it's about the X's and the O's. And I think they got that part pretty much sewn up there between Mike Vrabel and Doug Peterson. I mean, Doug Peterson, I think, he's got the Super Bowl, obviously. Mike Vrabel is not that bad of a coach. He's a really good coach, in my estimation. But we'll see if they can ramp up, again, to recap with them, if they can ramp up their passing game again. And I know they bolstered their offensive line. I know they lost some guys, but drafting guys like Peter Skronsky to help with their offensive line, if they can keep their quarterback, whoever it is, if it's Tannehill or Will Levis, keep them upright and they can run the football the way they've been in the past, they might turn some heads there. They might turn some heads there. All right. Hey, we got someone from Cedar Hill, Texas, man. Welcome. Hey, I used to live out in not in Cedar Hill, but in Plano, Frisco area. So welcome, man. Welcome from Texas, David. First time in, man. Appreciate you. And thanks for commenting. Appreciate you. All right, Indianapolis Colts. This is a fun team to watch. Like, I really like what they did in the draft. They went and drafted some of the most athletic guys in the draft, which it got overlooked a little bit. But the NFL is an athletic type of league. Now, you got a rookie head coach, right? You got a rookie quarterback, right? Because let's just be real, Anthony Richardson's going to start. He's going to start. There's no mind. There's no. Why wouldn't he not start? I don't even know who else is there. I forgot the guy who was in Jacksonville. God, I forgot his name off the top of my head. I forgot his name. I don't know why. I just drew a blank there. But anyway, this team was poised to be one of the top teams last year. Now, obviously, injuries to their offensive line, their defense, and their stud running back, Jonathan Taylor, it really hampered them. And they ended up finishing what I believe like 4-12 or 4-12-1 or something like that. And it was a forgetful season for sure. Fired your coach halfway through, or not halfway, more than they fired their coach during the season. Jeff Saturday comes out of the analyst booth, wins his first game against the Raiders, and then they just never won anything after that. So, but the biggest thing with the Colts is that they took a chance on a quarterback that's either boom or bust. Gardner Minshew, that's the name of the guy I'm thinking about, who's there in Indianapolis. Gardner Minshew, that just came to me. But anyway, Anthony Richardson could be really, really good, or he can be really, really bad. I'm gonna stay positive. I'm not gonna be cynical, because I can be somewhat cynical at times. What I like with what they did is that your coach, your head coach now was offensive coordinator for the Eagles last year, and I keep bringing this up. The offense for the Eagles was outstanding, right? The way they ran it, and you got an athletic quarterback just like Jalen Hurts in Indianapolis now with Anthony Richardson, and I would say Anthony Richardson is probably even more athletic than Jalen Hurts. And from what I understand, reports coming out of Indianapolis is that the kid is actually looking pretty good. He's throwing the ball better than what people expected him to do. So that's a plus. Now, again, if the coaching can be good, they got the players, they got the talent. I'm not saying that they're gonna maybe push the Jags, but one thing we know about this division, it's been either the Colts or the Titans, right? And now the Jags are the new kids on the block here. So, what do I expect from them? I think they're a work in progress. I don't think they're going to challenge for anything this season, for sure. But their offense can be very potent. If they can figure that thing out, they're going to be very potent. With that Anthony Richardson back there running like that quick that spread offense, man. They're going to be fun to watch. I will say that. If I see them on my Sunday ticket, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to definitely tune in to watch that game, because overall their roster is not completely garbage. It's a pretty good roster overall. They just got to fine tune some things, and they got to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing, is health. Health for them is really going to be an issue for them. But again, offensively, they added some tremendous talent. Anthony Richardson comes to mind again. Josh Downs, the receiver from North Carolina, and another guys on the defense who I think are going to be exceptional for them. But again, they're a work in progress. I don't expect a lot out of them, because I think they're kind of in a rebuild, because you got a young quarterback and a rookie head coach. But I think they may turn some heads in a game or two this upcoming season. And finally, Houston Texans. Now they had a really good draft too. I think they went and got two cornerstone players early in that draft. You drafted your quarterback of the franchise in CJ Stroud, and you go ahead and get a terror on the edge, outside linebacker Will Levis out of Alabama. Some may say it cost them a lot, but listen, if you can get guys that are franchise type players, you got to pay the cost, man. Like, it is what it is. Sometimes, you can't be cheap. Some people are like, you know what? Oh, that's too expensive. But hey, if you want luxury, you're going to have to pay for it. And in this case, they did. They gave up a lot in regards to draft picks, but maybe, they're going to turn the tide. Now, they finished 3-13-1 last year. And a lot of those games, they were pretty competitive in. I will say that. And I know 3-13-1, you are what you are what your record is, and they lost those games for sure. But they were pretty competitive. Um, I kind of like the direction in which they were going. I think they got young guys like Derek Stingley, who's a cornerback there, who's going to probably have a breakout year. Mark my words, look out for him. You got a new head coach coming in there, and D'Amico Ryan, so you know that defense is going to be good, right? So you know their roster, it's a young talent of roster. Excuse me, it's a young, talented, unproven roster. Now they're going to have a lot of bumps and bruises because you got a lot of young players per se, and usually that doesn't work well in the National Football League. But if their defense can keep them in the game, and CJ Stroud can avoid making as many rookie mistakes as possible, again, they're like the Colts. Not saying they're going to challenge for anything, but they're going to be another exciting young team you want to watch. You think about the guys that they drafted. Tank Dell, who I loved coming out of Houston. He's going to be mostly probably like a special team or a gimmicky player. What was the name of the kid that they drafted from Alabama? He had leukemia. I forgot his name off the top of my head. I'm forgetting these people's names. But people forgot about him, right? The wide receiver. So we don't know what to expect from from the Houston Texans. We really don't. So I think they'll probably be on the lower end again, probably with the Arizona Cardinals is one of the worst teams, unfortunately. But I think they got something going there. They definitely got something brewing there. Someone remind me, what's the name of that kid who had leukemia? He was a wide receiver. It's right at the top of my head. I can't remember his name. I'm be remiss because I want to give him his shout out because I thought if he didn't have leukemia, he would have had a breakout season, and I think he will have a breakout season. Um, yeah, Jonathan Mechie. Thank you. Yeah. Who knows? It's almost like he's a draft pick. We don't know anything about the kid, right? Last time we saw him in college, he was balling, and then unfortunately, he had leukemia. So I'm glad he'll be back. So they're in the same boat with the Colts because they're young, they're talented, they're going to be fun to watch. But to me, the more grown adult teams are the Tennessee Titans, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Those are the two teams that are going to be competing